Hello, everybody. It's Rick Ruby. Welcome to the Street Smart Millionaire. Today, we are going to interview one of the youngest, brightest millionaires I've ever known. And I want you to know before we get started, Kyle, that you're a trifecta right now with me. Do you know what that is?
No, I don't. What's a trifecta?
I like you, I admire you, and I'm proud of you. You know how often I give somebody the trifecta?
Probably pretty rarely.
No, very rarely. So listen, I think that a lot of young people, when they make a lot of money, they get a little what?
A little cocky.
A little cocky, and you should. I mean, you should be confident, but I think there's a difference between confidence and cocky. And I think confidence is like you're doing really well, but you know you can do better. And I think that I'm a big fan of people that have balance, and we're going to get into it. I think you have pretty good balance, don't you?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think your business is something to be proud of. I think you take great care of people. So how long have you been in the mortgage business?
So spent about 7 years on the operations side of things, was an LP1, LP2, and then in 2019 is when I transitioned to sales full-time.
So you've been a mortgage rep for 6 years, and how's the journey been so far financially? What were your numbers over the last 6 years?
So, it's been a wild journey. So first year in production, I did 92 transactions for about 30 million. And then second year was 2020. I did 421 loans for 150 million.
Oh my God, 150 million in your second year. That's got to be a record. And then what about since the blowout years? 1, 2,
It was pretty great work. Yeah. So since those years, I did 158 million in 2021, 2022, 2023, we're down a little bit, closer to about 100 to 120 million. And then last year, 2024, I did 135 million for 355 transactions.
So in the nation, guys that do 100 million, there's about 30. So you're one of the 30 top originators in the nation. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that out, Rick.
Well, I mean, I'm in the top 5 in the coaching business. I think I'm top mortgage coach. I'm top 3 real estate coach. I think I outwork everybody else. I think I keep it simpler than everybody else. I don't think I ever get tired. I'm on purpose for a purpose. So let's talk about your vision. What is your vision over the next 5 years in the mortgage business?
I think vision over the next 5 years is to really perfect the perfect loan process for my clients and my agent partners, and not wanting to get too crazy, but bringing in some people, and then also coaching as well. I think that's a big part of my.
Let's talk about the perfect process. What does that look like to you?
I think a perfect process has clear communication with very specific checkpoints. I want my agents to think that it's a automated process, and when it's still personable, right? It's still client centric. It's still the live human, but also very systematic.
Why does it have to be client centric?
That's the business I'm in. So I'm in a client-focused business. I'm not trying to sell the cheapest interest rate. I'm not an online lender that's just trying to do it in big swaths. I want my clients to have a wonderful experience. I want them to like me when it's all said and done, and want to create raving fans, because a lot of our business is taking care of our past clients and also getting referrals from our current and past clients as well.
When you look at your business, you close 25 to 30 loans every month right now, right?
Yeah.
And of the 25, how many come from realtors?
Probably 70%.
So let's say 17, 18. How many come from past clients and how many come from local business people?
90% of my business is either clients, so past clients come back or referring us, and then the realtor referrals as well.
So you only have 2 real pieces. You have your realtor base and you have your past client base. How many realtors actually refer you?
I would say we have, anywhere between 80 to 100 agents that actually refer us, but not all of them refer us well or doing a ton of business.
Now, how many do 5 deals a year with you?
I would say I probably have about 15 people that I do 5 deals a year with.
So 15 people do 60% of your business?
Yeah.
So tell us about how you got those relationships and how you manage those relationships.
It's a great question. I think I use every opportunity I can, Rick. I'm on the phone with my partners, so I'm not a big texter and an emailer. My agents know this. If they text me for an update, I'll take the time to pick up the phone, call them. And the why is because it's an investment into the relationship. So I don't think relationship.
How long have you had these 15?
I'd say I've had most of them for a while. I'm excuse me, I'm adding like one or two a year.
Trying to add a couple big whale accounts a year. So how do you who is the perfect realtor for you?
I want to work with an agent that does, 40 to 60 deals. I mean, 80 would be really, really great, but 40 to 60 deals a year would be like a perfect agent. One that is also relationship focused. So, I want it to be a good match, enjoy them. I want them to be excited when I call, and I want to be excited when they call.
Cool. I look at, I've been in the mortgage business for 41 years. I was a loan rep for 25. I've been a non-producing branch manager for 16. I had a realtor call me today that's been a client of mine for 20 years, and he deals with one of my loan reps, and he's having a problem with his own personal loan. Did I get involved in it?
Did you?
Yes, of course I got involved in it. He's got a servicing problem. I called the servicing manager. I fixed his payment situation. You have to be willing to be in the mud to be able to take great care of clients. Do you agree with that?
I agree.
So I think that you're a top salesman in the mortgage business. You've made in 6 years you've been in the business. How many of those years did you net over $1 million?
So all six, including 25. So every year since 2020.
So every year since 2020, from your second year in your business, you've been over $1 million. Normally it takes somebody 10 or 15 years to get there. Why did you get there faster?
I think I got lucky in a lot of ways, to be honest. I think there's opportunities that kind of fell in my lap, so to speak, but I think I capitalized on them well. I think that consistency is key, Rick. So whether that's in my business or in the gym or in my relationships, I'm not going to show up at 100% every day, but I'm going to show up every day. And I think that's probably the big differentiator is whether you and I don't want to, we still show up, So, I think
that's a great accomplishment. I think that's a great accomplishment at 31, and I'll be thrilled if you're that way at 65. When am I really, really impressed?
Longevity.
Longevity is the secret to success. Do you agree?
I agree. You've had longevity in your career for sure.
I have had longevity, and I know a guy asked me earlier, how come I've done so well for so long? I will tell you, for me, I love my purpose of making a big change in the industry, and I love the winning. So it's like we both work for the same guy. We work for the #1 retail mortgage originator, and he loves winning. For me, I love changing lives and winning. So I think that because I've had a dual purpose, I think it's kept me focused and kept me going. What do you consider to be your purpose?
I think the same as you. I think it's a game, but I was actually just thinking about this last night. It's like, why do I keep going? Okay. It's for the love of the game, but also because there is truly, truly no greater feeling than when I get off a consult with someone or we get to the closing table and they say, I never thought this was possible. And those moments, those are the mountaintop to mountaintop, victory to victory for me.
What are a couple of the biggest frustrations you have in your business?
Biggest frustrations is just I would say scaling is always a challenge. Feeling like I'm the bottleneck, which I am. And so that kind of goes into team and being the best for my team, but also being super devoted to my clients, just getting it all done in a day. It's hard. It's not easy.
And you've been a really good saver. I'm a big fan of that, and you're a really big saver, correct? Why is that so important to you?
I think for me, probably childhood fears. Watching my parents get divorced, and then my mom filed bankruptcy. We lost our house. Was Ramsey in budgeting since I was 17, and that's just been a core value of mine.
I think that the farther you overcome, the farther you go, and I think you've overcome a lot of stuff in your life, a lot of trauma with your parents and your mom and your financial situation. I had a lot of trauma, so I think it's important to never forget where you came from. You agree with that?
I agree. Yeah.
I think enjoy the journey, but I never forget where I was and, all my years of struggling and growing up in a tough family. And, I look at some of the things I've accomplished and some of the things that you're starting to accomplish. And you're actually way ahead of I was. I wasn't where you were until I was probably 50. And you're there already at 31. It's pretty amazing. It scares me, though. Why?
Because you don't want me to ruin it.
I don't want you to ruin it. I want you to stay grounded, and I want you to keep growing. And I wonder sometimes where you grow from top 30 in the nation up. Now, the top 20 in the nation are different than you. Why?
Well, it's because what we talked about. The difference is it's just a different model, Rick. They have a team of loan officers that are selling the loans.
the 30 that are the 20 that are ahead of you, there's 5 to 8 that are ahead of you that are just better loan reps than you are right now. But most of the top 20 do not do loans. They have teams, they pay realtors, they have loan reps on their team. So it's not really a fair comparison. So I look at like even what I see out there in the industry, I think you're in the top 10 of interest. And I think that other guys in the core are like that. But I think that when I look at your business, I think that you're really working hard to make it a really good experience for the realtor and the borrower. Address that a little bit.
Yeah, so I'll start with the client. I think one of the biggest things that we do is our biggest value proposition to our clients is our pre-approval consult. And we're coaching clients not just on, hey Rick, you're approved for $400,000, go buy this house. I'm always helping them optimize. So whether that's talking about debt payoff strategies, home equity loan strategies, even putting money in a high yield savings account. Rick, I talked to someone yesterday. They have $100,000 in savings. They don't want to invest it because they're afraid. And so just this easy recommendation, open up a high yield savings that's paying 3 or 4% a year. That's a $3,000 or $4,000 annual pay raise for them. It's a no brainer. So just helping people see their finances from a holistic perspective. And now they see me as a coach, right? So they're calling me not just on this mortgage, but also just financial stuff. They are always calling me and checking in on stuff like that. So I think that that's probably the biggest thing, is I can help manage their fear. And for the realtor, it's all about payment right now and interest rates. And so if I can help my agents with converting more because I'm helping the clients manage the fear better, I think that's the value add that I provide and we provide to our agent partners as well.
Well, I think that when I look at wealth and balance, I think that you're saving 30-40% of your paycheck.
Probably like 60 or 80.
And you're being a pretty good investor and steward of the money with like stock market. You're a pretty solid investor in the stock market.
Yep. Yep. We have the same financial advisor. Even before I joined the core, Rick was definitely big in like index funds and, big on that. So there was definitely like, even when I joined the core a couple of years ago, there's a lot of alignment, right? And that was one of the reasons that kind of drew me in, more into the inner circle, so to speak.
Let's look at your balance. So you're married. How long have you been married?
Been married 2025, so 13 years this year.
And how do you handle that situation? What are some advice or things that you do well, or maybe some things you don't do well?
I think that something that we are doing well, first off, we've gone to marriage counseling since day one. Pre-marriage counseling and marriage counseling since day one. I remember being in college. I was at the University of Washington and talking to another student. They're like, "What are you doing this evening?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to marriage therapy." And they're like, "I thought your marriage was good." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's good. This is how I keep it."
That's why it's good.
Exactly. So I think a lot of people wait for things to be a crisis before they get help, whether that's health physically, right? They wait till a heart attack and then they start addressing their health, or they let their business get out of control and they lose their marriage before they start getting help and seeking coaching, right? It's never been me. I'd rather get coaching up front so that I can avoid the mistakes.
So what are your 3 secrets in your marriage that you would say, the 3 things that I do really well are these things? What do you do really well?
I'm open to feedback. So there's really nothing that my wife can't bring to me. And she with me, right? Like same thing, but we're very open. We call them no touch topics.
Okay, so
and we try
really
to
good communication between each other, correct? Do you go on a date every week?
We do. Yeah. It's harder now, Rick. We have a 2-year-old. So there was a season, after our son was born that it was hard. It was hard, but,
You think
yes,
it's more important now or less important now that you have little children?
it's way more important.
I think it's way more important that you get a regular babysitter and you go out on a date. And what about like dreams and visions? Do you talk about that and are you aligned with that?
Yeah, for sure. And they change. My life looks a lot different than I thought it would 10 years ago. And so, we do a monthly check-in with each other too, just to make sure that we're on the same page. We talk about our dreams, our vision, our goals, what's an area. And so I think for me, Rick, so if I'm expecting feedback, I'm in a better frame of mind for feedback versus getting home from a hard day of work and then my wife says something to me and I'm not in the mindset to receive it, right? So we now, as once a month in our date, this is the date that we are going to talk about everything. So how am I doing? How am I showing up? Am I present? And that's probably the area that I struggle with the most. This last year was a tough year from a team perspective. And I wasn't as mentally present as I should have been. And my wife pointed that out to me and I've taken the feedback and really, really been working on that.
Cool. What's your physical diet and exercise routine look like?
Like I said, consistency. I work out 5 days a week for years, but really the last 3 years there, I don't miss a day. So work out very consistently, eat super clean and healthy. I don't eat out. And I think that that's a big advantage, right? I think if you're taking care of your body, you're nourishing your body, you're giving yourself energy, I can go out and outperform, 50% of my competition, 80% of my competition just because of that.
So you're balanced at home. Where are you spiritually? You're a Jesus kid, right?
Yes, I am.
How
Yeah.
do you work on Jesus?
Always, always.
Oh,
So daily devotional time, I listen to a lot of worship music or like I listen even to some like Christian, like workout music. I just think garbage in, garbage out. So I'd rather protect this mind and it keeps me more grateful, right? It keeps me more grateful and connected. And so, yeah.
I think that if you love Jesus, you have to love him and love people. Those are the two commandments in the New Testament. So I think that you're loving people. If you had a bigger mortgage group, could you really love the people?
That's the hardest part is I don't think you can. I
Just
think
so you know, I have about 38 loan reps. I have about 35 coaches. I have 340 students that I'm responsible for. I don't know that I can handle many more than that and give them the time that you need or the mentoring you need or the really good coaching you need. So I think that you have, how much vacation time do you go on?
probably about 10 to 20 days a year, depending on the year.
Okay, so almost 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And what is a good vacation for you? I know you're a camper.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, for me, it's going out hunting, being outdoors. That's not my wife's favorite vacation. So I get I sprinkle in some me time, and I go and do those with some guys or whatever. But my wife is, she wants a pool or a beach, and she just wants to chill. And so we have a good balance of both.
What are some of your biggest frustrations in your business?
Biggest frustration I would say is not being the leader that I want to be. I see how much my team needs me, and I feel like I am constantly letting them down. So just working on that. And
I have, I look at all my employees' budgets, right?
yes, you do.
So I have two new employees, and both have really bad budgets. And one is not making enough efforts to change it. And the other one came to me the other day, very like embarrassed, and her and her husband are not aligned about their budgeting. And they don't have enough money coming in to pay their bills. What are my options?
You could either pay her more. She has to cut some expenses somewhere to create that margin between income and expenses. Third option, go get a new job or a side hustle or something.
So here's what I did. I gave her a Band-Aid to catch up all her bad bills and pay off one of her credit cards. I made her make 5 cuts to her personal budget, things they can cut, eating out, subscriptions on the TV, to create some of that, what you said, gap between the revenue and the overhead. I'm making her sit down with me once a month, and I invited her husband to come in to do a joint budgeting session because, in the mortgage business, we do a lot of budget counseling.
Yes, we are. Yeah.
Do you think most employees will work on that?
I think if you're intentional as a leader to give them time and attention to that, I think they will work on that. But I don't think that naturally they will.
I think that for me, leadership means influence. What does it mean to you? Do you agree with that definition?
I agree. Yeah.
So I have to influence people to go from point A to point B. Now, that's not the same as coaching and selling. What is your definition of selling?
Selling, I think it's showing an individual a path to their goal.
Yeah. So talking them into a product or a service. You agree?
Sure. Yeah.
And hopefully you're a good salesman. It meets their goal, correct?
100%.
What do you think management is?
I think it's an orchestra. So it's orchestrating smooth and efficient. Yeah.
So I would say orchestrating or executing at a high level to make sure the little details are handled. What do you think of leadership? We talked about influence. And what do you think coaching is? You mentioned earlier that you dream about being a coach. I'd love to have you on my team. I think that's a big part of your future. I think leadership is influencing you to make good decisions. Management is getting you to execute to play a high level. Sales is about getting you to talk people into different situations. So I think all of these things are salesman, manager, leader, coach. I think they're all hats you have to pick up and put on occasionally to continue to grow wealth and continue to find balance. So I think that wealth and balance, What's your overview of those two topics?
As it pertains to me as an individual,
Like, what does wealth mean to you?
I think it's beyond finances. I think an easy answer is to say money, but to me, wealth is like relationships. It's having time with your loved ones. So to me, like I don't measure my wealth just based on what my financial advisor holds. That's obviously a large part of it, but I think money is just a tool to redeem time. My wife has never been to a hockey game, but it was an experience that she'll remember forever. And she's like, I'm ruined. Like this was amazing. And we had such a great time. And if we didn't have the financial resources to do that, I understand not everyone can. So very, very grateful that we have that, but that's wealth.
I think wealth is, you're right. I think it's more than just money, but it's like you have to be able to have the resources available to provide for your community, provide for your family. Like, I don't know how generous you're being right now. How are you doing with your generosity?
Again, like everything, I think it can always be better. But I think that there's some organizations that we enjoy supporting, and giving back is very important to us for sure.
I will tell you, for me, as I've been on a journey of wealth and balance, I think that in the last probably 12 or 13 years, I've really worked on my generosity. And in the last probably 7 years, I've been averaging over 10% that I give away. And I think that for a long time, I had a mentality of this was my money instead of me being the steward of it. Can you relate to that?
Yeah, I think it's fear. And I think that, there's different stages of the wealth. There's the accumulation stage, which is just, it's hoarding it, right? And I don't know if that's necessarily good stewardship, but I think that that's the human condition, and that's where we struggle. But once you have more than enough, which I know you and I have talked about, you're like, you have more than enough. You're past that stage, and now it's about other people's money. It's about making an impact on others, for sure.
I agree. I think that that's where coaching has been a big thing for me, because I've got to help so many young people grow and hit their visions and blow up. And for a lot of people, giving them a vision has been important for me. Like a lot of people don't have a clear vision. Like for me, it's always, how do you get to 100 grand? Then how do you get to 250? Then how do you get to 500? Then how do you get to million? Then do you want to get to 2 to 5 million? I think there always has to be the next vision. I think it's vision, plan, execution. What do you think about that outline?
You and I have talked a lot about vision, and, going into coaching, this is why there's so much value in coaching, is you've seen so many people. I think for a lot of us loan officers, we're just head down in the business. And sometimes a coach is the one that pulls you out and really gives you that bigger perspective. And so you've been a great resource to me. And so as a lot of your coaches, just like, where should I go? What direction should I go? And I've changed it. The vision has changed.
Well, I would tell you the thing I like about you most is you've always focused on getting better instead of getting bigger. Like so many young
like 2 years as I've been
money, they're addicted to getting bigger. Do you agree with that? I find it very unattractive. I think the focal point should be, how do I be a better salesman? How do I be a better manager? How do I be a better leader? How do I be a better coach? How do I be a better person? I think if people would focus on getting better, they would naturally get a little bigger, don't you think?
100%. I agree.
Well, I think that you're, like I said, you're the trifecta. I admire you. I think you're a really good person. I think you work really hard. I like you. You seem grounded, fun. I've enjoyed all my interactions. You kind of like I lost a son that would be 35. So there's always young men that I look at and say, wow, a lot of his qualities I would like in my son. A lot of your qualities I hope my son would have gotten or grown. I think you're doing great things. I'm very proud of you as a student, as a person, as a fellow Christian. I think that if you mess it up, I'm going to bring a baseball bat and smash you. That is my promise to you. You got it?
That's a fair promise. I appreciate it.
Final thoughts to my audience.
I appreciate that a lot.
I
appreciate
coaching to my audience.
Final thoughts. I mean, there's value in coaching. I like Rick, you're a phenomenal coach, and it's not just you though. You have a great group of coaches. And so, I'll be honest, Rick, when I first met you, I wasn't sure if you were the style for me. You were the guy for me, right? But I've got to know you, and I really enjoy getting to know you. I also have really enjoyed the people you've surrounded yourself with. And I think that's what's the coolest thing is there's so many different approaches and different ways to do this business or to do business in general. And I've really enjoyed the community, connecting with different people in the coaching program that I've been able to impart different pieces of wisdom. So I would say final piece of advice is if Rick's not your guy, there's probably a good coach in the program that is. But if you decide core is not for you, just get coaching. Just be coached. Be surrender to someone in all areas, life, your marriage, your God beliefs, your business. I think whatever is important to you, I think you should have someone over you and giving you guidance, because I don't know if it's important if you're not prioritizing that.
I will tell you, I think it's the most important thing. And the Bible talks about when you're at war, seek counsel. And I think life is a war. I think you have to always have good counsel. I have a personal trainer. I'm going to meet with my mentor today. He's going to knock me around a little bit, how to make me a better Christian, how to make me a better husband, how to make me a better leader. I have a boss that I respect a lot. I'm under his authority. I'm under my wife's authority. So I have a mentor and coach. I have a wife, and I have a boss that I'm under their authority. And I think that your future is really, really bright as long as you stay grounded. And I see so many young people, Kyle, that make a lot of money and they start to believe the numbers. You're not better. You're better at this. Does that make sense?
I agree 100%.
So to everybody out there, you should all be like Kyle. Go out there and work really hard. Take great care of your realtors. Take care of your clients. I'm proud of you, kiddos. See you later. Have a great day. Bye.
All right. Thanks, Rick. See you later.